How's it going, everybody? Today we are talking about Alien Earth, the FX Hulu series based on the Alien franchise. The series premiere was just yesterday. We got the first 2 episodes, and each episode was about an hour long. So it was kind of a mini little event yesterday. At least it felt that way to me because I was excited about this show. So what we're gonna do in this video is I'm gonna give you a brief rundown, my first impressions of the show, of these first 2 episodes, give you guys my thoughts, whether you should watch it or not, and then we'll dive into the episodes and talk about spoilers and all of that. So first off, 100%, hands down, if you're an Alien fan, what are you doing? Go watch this show. I mean, come on. Unless the show is bad and disrespects the franchise, you're going to be curious about this. It's an Alien show. If you're an Alien fan, you're going to be curious about it. So what are you doing? Go watch it. And I can say that because the show is not bad. It's not a bad show. It doesn't disrespect the franchise. In fact, from the very beginning of the first episode of this season, of this series, you can tell that this show was created by fans of the franchise. From the sound design to the score is inspired by the original soundtrack to the way things look. I mean, it feels like Alien. And this is a TV show budget. I think they did a great job. I don't know what it is about the Alien franchise, but it seems like people who like it, or at least creatives involved, really pay attention to detail, like the Alien Isolation game, Alien Romulus. Even though I didn't like the writing in that movie, it could have been better. The visuals, the sound, the way it looked, everything was spectacular. Same with this show. I mean, it's not clearly, it's not as good as Alien Romulus in the terms, in the visuals and the sound and all of that. But for a TV budget, I mean, this is great. This is fantastic. Even throwaway games like Alien Fire Team or Fire Squad, whatever that game is, like I'm going on such a crazy tangent, but it's like a co-op shooter. Like, I don't know what it is about the Alien franchise. People like to pay attention to detail. The sets, the way the ships look, the little trinkets around everywhere. And what I'm saying is this show has that. This is not a spoiler. The way the show starts, you see this crew and you see them interacting in the little area, just like in Alien 1, around the table, they're eating, they're talking. You can tell they're fans of Alien. They try to recreate that atmosphere, that environment in this show. And that's a lot of detail. You need to make this extremely sci-fi, futuristic-looking ship look old, run down, and lived in, have all of this detail, have all of this character, and the sound design. The sound design in the Alien franchise is so important, from the computers to the guns to everything. You get that here. And for a TV show, that's absolutely fantastic. All right, now let's quickly talk about the premise of the show. What's the foundation? What are we building on here? Because it's going to be tough to have an entire show about a xenomorph stalking a crew on a ship and then drag that out for an entire series. You know, it's a bit tough. So what are we working with here? There are 5 corporations, Weyland-Yutani being one of them, and they're all in a race for immortality. And they have a few different solutions. The synthetics, like you've seen, you're very familiar with in the Alien franchise. They have cyborgs, and they have synthetics with the consciousness of a human transplanted in them. There's also a new corporation that Alien Earth introduced called Prodigy. And at least based off these first 2 episodes, we're going to be taken through this story from the perspective of the folks at Prodigy. Now, you might be thinking, come on, guy, you're busy talking about all these corporations and synthetics and cyborgs and all this nonsense. I'm here for the Alien. The show is Alien Earth. The reason why I love the Alien franchise is because the xenomorph, that's what I want to see. If that's the only thing you want to see, if that's the only thing you care about, let me tell you, after watching these first 2 episodes, you're going to have a smile on your face. Let me just say that. Now, while I do recommend you guys to go and watch the show, it was not perfect. I can see why they decided to do a 2-episode premiere. The first episode was a bit disjointed, but the second episode, the storyline started to come together, and I can see where things are going in the future. But the structure of the show still, it could be better. The execution could be better. Like the way the second episode ended, it felt like they didn't know how to end it, and they just cut it. I don't know what was going on behind the scenes. Like, the show has wonderful ideas, and we're going to get into those in the spoiler section. But I just feel the execution could have been a lot better. And I'm hoping it does get better. Episode 2 was an improvement over episode 1, and I'm hoping episode 3 will be an improvement over episode 2. My main issue with episode 2 really was the ending. It felt like episode 2 is going to lead directly into episode 3, and they didn't know where to chop it, and they were just like, all right, here's a good spot, cut, boom. But yeah, those are my biggest concerns. Pacing and structure. The casting is good. The acting is solid. I mean, it's not mind-blowing, but it doesn't need to be mind-blowing. The visual effects look great. The sound design is good. One other issue is they kept doing like this flashy image thing that got old. I don't know if they're trying to increase tension that way, make you feel uneasy, but that flashing image thing, I think they did it a bit too much and it got old. Now, while it had a little bit of a bumpy start in terms of execution, the main reason why I like the show is the ideas that it brought forth. The ideas in the show are great. However, I can't talk about that without getting into spoilers. So, from this moment on, we're in spoiler territory. All right, now before I say anything else, dude, those alien kills, the xenomorph is so prevalent in these first 2 episodes, way more prevalent than I thought it was. And the kills, dude, the xenomorph kills, that thing is a machine. Like, we have not seen a xenomorph this aggressive. How fast it kills, it literally destroys entire rooms of people like that. And the aftermath is insane. Like, you know, when the inner mouth comes out and literally just bashes somebody's face in, you see it. You see their face bashed in. People chopped in half, crawling on the floor. Dude, the aftermath is insane. Yeah, this is the kills and the aftermath of the kills and the speed of these kills from the xenomorph are fantastic. I'd like to see the Predator. I'd really like to see the Predator come and fight this alien, this xenomorph. This thing is fast. No way, dude. No way the Predator is going to keep up with this thing. I mean, I'm biased. I'm Team Alien all the way. I like Predator too, but come on, dude. Aliens are just so cool. Anyways, let's get into what I really liked about the show. I mean, obviously the xenomorph. The xenomorph scenes were absolutely fantastic. I liked it. I liked it a lot. The show started off in a Weyland-Yutani vessel, the Maganaut, I think it was called, and that's where I'm talking about the sound design, the set design, the crew. It felt like they're really trying to capture the vibe of Alien 1, and I like it. I'm a big fan of Alien 1. They were on a scientific expedition to collect some specimens. The facehugger was among them. And that's why this is so cool, dude, because Weyland-Yutani was not just interested in just the xenomorph. They were interested in multiple different organisms. So this ship was essentially a flying zoo of the most dangerous species in the universe. You had tentacle eyeballs that could take over kitty cats. You had slugs that could fly and suck your blood in an instant. You had the alien xenomorphs, obviously. Like, it was insane. And to top it all off, this ship crash lands. This ship crash lands on Earth. What makes it even more interesting is that it crash landed in Prodigy territory. It's a Weyland-Yutani vessel in Prodigy territory. 2 rival corporations. And now Prodigy has access via the ship to Weyland-Yutani research. Since we brought up Prodigy, let's talk about them for a sec. Remember what I said? All of these companies are in a race for immortality, right? And what Prodigy is doing is they are implanting the consciousness of a human into a synthetic, okay? And so they can't die because they're in a synthetic body. And you can't do it with adults yet, but you can do it with children because their minds are malleable. So what they're doing is they're taking terminally ill children or handicapped children or sick children, and they're taking them and giving them a new life. They're putting their minds into these synthetic bodies so that they can walk again, they can live again, they can do the things that they want to do. The thing is, since they're synthetic bodies, they're not going to grow. So what they do is they put these little kids into the bodies of an adult, and that creates this weird kind of dynamic. So the main characters that you're focusing on are kids. And I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that. I like the dynamics that it's created in the show. It's fun. It's interesting. But essentially, the main character of the show is a little kid. And you're seeing her play with her friends and all of that. A little kid is the main character of an Alien TV series. Now, you can clearly see why this could be bad for the show. But it could also be cool. It's interesting. It could create interesting conversations and situations. And I am curious to see where things go. I'm curious to see how they handle this. I just hope it doesn't become a hurdle for the show. Rather, it becomes an asset for the story they're trying to tell. Because the lead actress is really cute. She's fun. I like her character. She has a storyline with her brother because she was pulled away from her brother. She's trying to find him and they finally reunite. This dude, this little Indian kid, man, this Indian guy, dude, if you have a secret, don't tell that kid because he's going to blurt it out instantaneously. We need to get some duct tape and put it around this kid's mouth every single time we go out in public because that kid is going to say everything you don't want him to. Anyways, after the first episode, it felt like we didn't get to spend enough time with anybody. Wendy, the main character, we didn't get to spend enough time with. We didn't get to spend enough time with the crew because that's how the show started off, with the crew in space. I'm thinking, okay, that's what we're focusing on here. But we immediately jumped to Prodigy with the boy genius and Wendy and all of the stuff that they're doing over there. And then we jumped to the brother. So we had all these different storylines going on, but in the first episode, we didn't spend nearly enough time with any of the characters. So after that episode, I was like, I don't really care. I don't feel invested in any of these characters. But by the end of the first episode and continuing into the second episode, the storyline started to come together, and that's when things got good. The ship that we started off in space crash landed on Earth. The brother, who's a medic, was sent as a rescue team. So now we have two storylines coming together. That area it crash landed was Prodigy territory. And they sent out the synthetics to help out. And so all the storylines are now coming together. Wendy had her reunion with her brother, and that was really sweet. Speaking of Wendy, the name Wendy, there's a lot of Peter Pan symbolism here in the show. And the kids are in Neverland. They're not going to grow up. They're the lost boys. They're the lost children because they're now in synthetic. They're children in synthetic bodies that will never age. It's some cool stuff. But the most important thing, and why we are all watching this show, somebody got kissed by a face hugger on that ship. That's why it crashed. An alien is loose on board. A xenomorph is loose. Everybody on that crew died except for the first ranking officer, the first mate, who is a cyborg. And his job, his motivation is to capture the specimen, capture the xenomorph at all costs, because he's under a special assignment from Wayland Yutani. Now, the issue is we just crash landed a xenomorph-infested spaceship on Earth. So this xenomorph is now running around on Earth. It created some awesome scenes. This xenomorph is running through a hotel, just killing people. So he's busy hunting down this xenomorph, trying to capture it and take it back, while the medic team is in there trying to evacuate the building, get people out. And the synthetics from Prodigy are over there on the ship, trying to investigate the research that was done, trying to gather and collect data to bring back to Prodigy, because the CEO of Prodigy wants the information that Wayland Yutani has. While all that is going on, this xenomorph is wreaking havoc on all of them. And that's where it's a bit weird that they're little kids, because you just sent little kids into an extremely dangerous environment. And yeah, they're super strong, they're super fast, they can't die. But that's not the issue. Think about the trauma, the dead bodies they're seeing, like the grotesque, like that flying leech thing. They saw the little giant thing grow, whatever, fall off. They saw an eyeball come out of a zombie cat with tentacles and jump on the little girl's face, and she's ripping it. These are little kids. And this is the absolute worst environment for them to be in. Wendy and the Indian kid walk into the hotel and they're just bodies everywhere. They don't know how to process it. They're like, oh, there's a bear in here. Yeah, you wish there was a bear in there. So I'm really curious to see how these synthetics, these kids in synthetic bodies mature and develop, because people will treat them like adults because they look like adults. So forget that they're little kids inside there, and being exposed to insane things. One more thing I want to talk about that I liked was the scene where Wendy is reunited with her brother. I feel like that was done very realistically. He was in such denial because he thought she died. And now he's seeing her in a different body. I need proof. I need to know who you are. Like, you're dead. You don't look anything like my sister. So he starts asking questions and all that stuff, trying to prove to himself that this is her. And he still doesn't know how to process it. He just falls on her, like his forehead touches her shoulder, and he's just standing there. Like he He's just taking it all in. He doesn't know what to say. He doesn't, like, Pinch Me, is this real? And while he's dumbfounded, she is happy and giddy because to her, I've been alive this whole time. I've never died. I watch you on security footage all the time, every single day. I know where you are. I know what you do. I'm caught up on your life. For him, it's just like, is this real? I don't know. I don't know how to handle. This is insane. And I think they did a really good job writing that scene because they could have easily wrote it over the top. They could have made it like this big reactionary moment, but instead, he more so internalized that, and that worked for his character. So yeah, man, I thought it was a solid start. Nothing crazy. Again, the pacing and the structure could have been better. It needs to be better. That's the main thing that's holding the show back because I really like the ideas that they're going for. Seeing all the different aliens that Weyland-Yutani's been collecting. I really like the stuff that they did on the spaceship. And now seeing how these different corporations are going to interact. We've only seen 2 so far. And now that Prodigy has some Weyland-Yutani information, what are they going to do with it? What are their intentions? These questions are all good signs. The show built intrigue. Even though it didn't present itself in the best way possible, the content is there. It just needs to be refined and executed better. We'll see how things play out in the future. But that's going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. What did you guys think about the season premiere of Alien Earth? Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.